I'm here with Becky and Jill from Cambridgeshire Supernatural Investigators, and you're going to take us through some of your equipment. Very excited. Ladies, if you could let us know what the equipment is, what do you use, how do you use it, and how would you tell if you get a positive reading?
Right, with us tonight I've brought two different EMF meters, a K2 and a mel meter.
Sorry, Becky, can I ask? EMF?
Electromagnetic field.
Thank you.
So at the beginning of the evening we'll use these to sweep the venue to see what the normal reading or level of EMF is within the field. And then later on, while we're investigating, each group will have at least one EMF meter with them, normally the K2 because it's visual. We know what the baseline reading is. If suddenly the lights start going up, there's an increase in the magnetic field, it's a good indication that we have got somebody or something with us, and then's the time to start an EVP session, an electronic voice phenomena, and start taking photos.
Can you show us what that looks like then?
I'm going to pass the mel as well. So the grey one that I have in my right hand is a K2. This measures the electromagnetic field or milligauss. Green is pretty normal. If it goes to red, which is what we'd like it to do, shows a very high reading. If it stays red constantly and for a long period of time, if it's a business, it can affect people and they can start to hallucinate and feel very, very poorly, which can also give us a reason to debunk claims of the paranormal. We can use these to answer yes/no questions. 1 flash for yes, 2 flashes for no, which we have done successfully on one investigation. The mel meter is quite a relatively new design of meter, and this is an EMF meter and thermometer in one. So rather than having to carry two pieces of a kit, you can just carry the one. Unfortunately, it's not as visual as the K2 because it's a digital screen, so we do prefer to use the K2 because in a dark room, if you are in pitch blackness, we can see quite clearly what's going on.
If you don't mind me just commenting, we've been in Chatteris Library now for a couple of hours, and I know you turned the EMF that you've got in your right hand on. Now, everyone else at home, I'm sure you're watching, and it's green. Now, we have actually seen that hitting red during the time that we've been here this evening, but it's a little bit sporadic. What would that indicate?
That there has been a change around the place that I've left the K2, but nothing has altered on the table where it's been positioned, and it stopped going to red after, unfortunately, one piece of your equipment decided to blow.
It did. We had a bulb blow. That's absolutely excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Those back.
What else have we got there then, Jill?
Okay, right. The equipment that I've got is slightly more spiritual rather than scientific. We have dowsing rods. They come in all sorts of, all metals. These are Becky's dowsing rods. Mine are much longer and made of copper. They're a lot heavier. But what we do with these, we hold them very, very loosely. So it's very difficult to make them swing manually. And you will ask them questions, whether it be in your mind, or whether it be aloud. For a start, to make sure that we know that they're working, we ask them to show us yes and to show us no. And then we ask them a question that we know the correct answer to, and then we ask them a completely false question so that we know that they're working correctly. With my dowsing rods, we get some amazing answers with my dowsing rods, and they are pretty much yes/no questions. You ask them with mine. If it's a yes, they cross. If it's a no, they either stay still or go out like that. But these are Becky's ones.
I've used crystals in the past. Do you use crystals at all?
We do. We can use dowsing crystal. Again, this is Becky's crystal. She has a mat that has yes, no, don't want to answer, maybe. So you literally sort of hold the crystal over it, and again, for a start, to make sure it's working, you ask it to show you their answer to yes, show the answer to no, because everybody's different. Crystals work differently in different ways for different people. So I could get one answer. My yes could be swinging like that. Becky's could be around and round like that. It just depends. You can use it with the mat or without the mat. Again, it's a lot of yes/no questions. A lot of people think they can be faked, because obviously even if you're standing very, very still, you've still got pulses going through. It's down to interpretation. I have seen it where people have gone like that, but I have seen it where there has been no movement whatsoever and the crystal has just gone absolutely mad. So.
But at the end of the day, there's no point in you trying to fool yourself, is there?
No, absolutely.
So, no.
Which is why we've also got a dowsing crystal that's attached to a tripod.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So again, we can ask yes/no questions, but equally nobody can say that anybody could possibly be manipulating it.
Yeah, good idea. What else have you got there then, ladies?
I've got a standard piece of equipment that we keep on, that we all take on in investigations. We've got a digital voice recorder. It can be used to record electronic voice phenomenon. It's their voices, sounds that are not audible to the human ear, but you'd be surprised what you pick up on these, the tiniest little sounds, and they will pick up. We also put them in rooms with locked off cameras. Can be used with our Frank's box, which is a detuned radio, which has a speaker on it, and it literally scans through the radio stations, gives out a lot of white noise, and every now and then words will come up. We had a really good example in the Hippodrome in March. We were upstairs in the ladies' toilet, and we were just asking questions, and all of a sudden we said, we know there's somebody here, can you tell us your name? And clear as anything, Jim. And we were asking him questions. We went up into the projection room.
Did you ask Jim why he was in the ladies' toilet?
It used to be the bar. Yeah, I know. But we went up into the projection room, which was all different colours, and we came back down went into the toilet and said to him, "It's a mess up there. You should really paint it. What colour are you going to paint it?" And purple.
Wow.
So we had quite a conversation with Jim, and we caught it all on this and on camcorder as well.
Do you know the history of that? Do you know who Jim was?
Yeah, he was the manager at one time. I used to work at the Hippodrome, and he was the manager at one time.
He's passed now, has he?
Yeah, he has. When I worked there, we used to see him. He wasn't there then, he'd passed away, and we used to see him on the stage cleaning at the end of the night, so I knew who he was. But, there is no manipulation. It is literally, it just comes out of the white noise.
Fantastic, very interesting. What else have you got?
We have a laser thermometer, which, can you see that? It shoots a laser beam out, and that will measure how hot or cold anything is. Very good for for finding cold spots. Kids like playing with these. My uncle likes playing with these because it shoots out a pretty red light. So, they're very, very good and very good for kind of like just a spot of temperature rather than a whole room. Okay,
that's really interesting. So if you're in a room like we are now, where presumably you think the temperature is going to be constant, you could actually find somewhere where it drops?
Yeah.
Okay.
We will have
And what's that then, Becky?
This is a vibration detector, or geophone, as some people call it. Use the alarms on any of our equipment, because some can be quite loud and it can be quite distracting. So this is a new piece of equipment that we've only just purchased. We've got other types of geophones, but we saw this one and we really liked it. So we're looking forward to using this, on our next investigation.
I bet you are. Do pieces of equipment that we might carry affect yours, like mobile phones, for example?
They can, especially modern mobile phones that have wireless network and things on them. And again, mobile phones will also affect our equipment, which is why on investigations we ask that either people leave them in the cars switch them off and leave them in our base room, because we also have a base on an investigation. Or if they do want to use it as a camera, switch it onto wireless mode or flight mode, so there's no interference whatsoever, because they will react with some of our pieces of equipment. They'll react also with the video cameras. We'll pick up static on the cameras and on the voice recorders, and obviously when we're trying to listen back for the analysis, we suddenly hear, you know, white noise, but it's not. We know when somebody's got a mobile phone or something with them, but our team are very good and they will switch them off.
Interesting. Anything else you have there?
We have this is another new piece of equipment. It's a light, an audio light, and it basically, the way it works is it picks up voices, noises, and converts them to light. So we can leave these in a room with a locked off camera, and especially in rooms where people have said, you know, we get a lot of noises, we get whispering, it will pick anything up. It's very, very sensitive. We can leave it in there with a locked off camera and a voice recorder. So we've got all avenues covered. If we see the lights flashing, we can then listen back to the voice recordings and see if we pick anything up. On the downside, we went to a private investigation and we had this in the room. It can pick up traffic that's going past outside, but then it's a way of eliminating things. So it's a natty little piece of kit, really.
Anything else?
I won't point it at the camera. But here we have a laser grid. I don't know if you can see the grid on my hand. But where clients or venues are telling us that they've seen shadows, we can set the laser up. We do have a holder for the laser, because you do have to keep the button pressed in all the time. So I have built a little kit to hold it. We have a camera behind it, so we're filming the wall, the door, all evening. And the theory behind using the laser is we might not necessarily be able to see the apparition or the shadow person walk by, but they will block out the lights of the laser. So when we again do our analysis, we can look back and we can see whether any of the lights have gone out, especially in sequence, if something's gone across the screen. And we know that there's nobody there, because obviously we all introduce ourselves when we walk into a locked off room or when there's any cameras or voice recorders going, so people know who are listening back, oh, hang on a minute, 4 people just walked in there. So that's the explanation for that. But these do work really well.
Excellent. I would like to see some footage of that.
And the last one. Again, this is a new piece of equipment. It's a REM pod. The company that make this call it the REM DD. Basically, it has an extending aerial, so you can adjust the frequency that you want to use. And because we work with magnetic fields, this emits its own magnetic field. So when it's on, it will radiate about a metre and a half out at its highest. So we can put it in a spot, again, where people are saying that they're seeing people, or seeing shadows or hearing things, and it will have its own magnetic field. When something interrupts that magnetic field, dependent on the strength and how close they are, it will go from green to red. Again, as I said, it's a new piece of equipment. I know some teams have used these very successfully, so we're trying this one out, partly to get them in the country, because there's only a few groups in the country that have got this. And we more than likely will be buying a few more of these, because they were very good value, and I did test them out. And we always get a new piece of equipment, we always test things out before we take them out with us, and did get some good responses using this when I really shouldn't have had it going off at all.
Oh, that's really interesting. So you've got some events coming up, and I bet you're very excited about using some of your new gadgets.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much, ladies. Very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.